how we do data analysis and data presentation is a simple guide, and I want to spend just maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes talking through this process, right? So first of all, we need to appreciate that data has a value for communication, and we need to understand the primary data points with which we use. So if you decide to look at every single data entry point for the budget, it's not all of them that will be relevant to your report, right? In the final report that you're presenting to the public. So you need to be careful to select what is relevant to the public so that you don't have information overload. When it becomes, some people can't deal with numbers, can't deal with data. So when you overload with data, it becomes a problem of comprehension. So you need to be very careful to find what is relevant. It doesn't mean that the others are not relevant, but what do the people need in order to make a decision or take action. So we also look at data engagement model. We will look at the tools we use for data analysis. I won't go into that. I will just mention a few of them, and then your data sources as well. So just a quick look at what data is. So hidden factual information as measurement or statistics that can be used as basis for reasoning, discussion, and calculation. So it's a collection of facts, more or less. And looking at the report, I've seen a few 14 MDAs control 70% of all capital expenditure, right? So I'm sure there is a huge amount of data backing up that particular statement. But the public don't need to know that. What they need to know is that there are specific MDAs that get a lot of money, right? And this report focused on those MDA. Further down in the report, you then say, out of the 14, only 5 are linking their MTSS to their budget plan, right? I'm sure there are also a lot of data backing that statement up, but what the public need to know is just that quick summary you have mentioned. Do you understand what I mean? So the reason I'm talking about this is that at the end of the day, how do you then present, because I looked at the report you have, it's almost more than 200 pages, right? How do you make an average Jew read that report without having to flip through the over 200 pages of document? Does that make sense? So it's how you decide from your huge data to communicating in a single sentence what that huge data represents is what data visualization and analysis is about. It's even the same for decision makers. How do you tell your boss that based on what you have found on the sales field, we think that we need to change our marketing strategy? Your boss doesn't need to see the data behind the reason you are proposing that, but you need to be able to provide a quick summary of that data to say, look, we noticed that in the Northeast, sales went down once we put up this type of ad. In this sector, when we put up this type of ad, sales went up. Do we need to try the same type of marketing? Do you understand what I mean? Your boss doesn't need to see the nitty-gritty of the sales in order to understand. The same thing with public communication. The public don't need to see the nitty-gritty of the data behind it, but you need to be able to summarize it in a way that they can trust your judgment. I think that's essentially what you do with your collection of facts and basing your decision making on those facts. So it's a simple process. You have flour, you have egg, you have butter, you have sugar. All of that is cake, right? But if I come to this room and say, it's my birthday, let's celebrate, and I put a bowl of fresh cake, put a bowl of flour, put a bowl of sugar, butter, and everything I need to make a cake, and say, please, let's cut my birthday cake. People will think I'm crazy, right? But by the time you mix it all together and you put decoration on it, it makes for a good birthday celebration, right? So presenting the data in their raw format sometimes does not make sense to the people who need it for decision making, right? So you don't need to present the fresh egg, the flour, and all of the ingredients you need in making cake. Before the final consumer can use it, you need to first mix, bake, decorate, and then present. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? So at the end of the day, it is not the raw materials you used in gathering your information that is important. It's how you present that information that is most important, that people can act on. So the life cycle of data is that you gather You gather your information. So you have your data, and you have the information you need for your for your research, and you engage that data, right? When you put the two of them, the information you have, the data you have, when you put it together, it forms the engagement with that data you have. Then, after you have analyzed your data, you then gain knowledge from the data analysis you have done. Then that leads to presentation, right? And when you present it, it becomes a discussion and decision-making document, right? With which people can personalize and act on. So if you have done all of your field research and you send a summary or a report to the DG of Budget and Planning, he acts on that report. He doesn't get to see all of the information you gather on the field, right? He doesn't need that. He relies on the final presentation you make to him to be able to have discussion with his team or make a decision with respect to how the budget is prepared. So that's what I won't go to the next slide. This is basically internally our own source. Most of the times when we do data presentation visualization, these are different sources we gather data from. So for example, budget implementation report for 2016, the final one is not out yet, but there's a way you can actually find out how much federal government had spent in 2016. If you go to Central Bank of Nigeria report, statistical bulletin, you'll find that information. So even though federal government will not tell you that we have presented our budget implementation report, but you can find a way around gathering that same information from CBN, because CBN must report on time. Whether budget office reports on time or not, CBN must report their own on time, so you can find that information. So recently, on the second anniversary of this government, we wanted to say, since May 29 till the second anniversary, how much in total have they spent? How much have they generated in revenue? Even though the budget document will show something different, but the government banker says that they've spent over 10 trillion, right? But when you look at the budget, we say, oh, we haven't spent up to that one, but the banker says we have handed the federal government this amount of money and all of that. So there are all sorts of sources you can confirm data. I don't need to go into this.
Well, I think that's the own methodology of getting.
That's our own. It's not really. I'm just giving an example. This is our own. Yeah, this is our own. There's a CBN statistical report that shows how much this government has.
Because CBN itself also knows that that is not credible. They are now beginning to look for published accounts and published budget of government.
There's also various data analysis too. Very common is Excel. You can do all sorts of things with your Excel. You can do online spreadsheet as well. So you can collaborate with others to work on the same document. When one is online, it's commonly used in my office is Google Sheet. So even though I'm out of the office, I can continue to do my work with my colleagues in the office as well. So if it's online, other people can collaborate with you. Vision, table, all of those. But another critical aspect of your data analysis is the things that are not in your computer, the thing that is in your own human computer, which is your brain, right? Your imagination, your thoughts, your narrative that accompany what you eventually gather as data. How do you then present it? That you can't find in the number. It has to come from your own imagination and your thoughts and all of that. So there is. I'll just jump to this. Okay, let me just talk about it. So of course you do data collection, entry, validation, improvement, and all of those things. Publish and then use Excel to do analysis. But what process do you use in your data mining? So you start with gathering all of the information that you have. When you collect your information, you enter your data, you do validation and improvement, you restructure the matrices, you do advanced data analysis using whatever software. There are all sorts of software, both open source and paid for software that you can use for it. There are all sorts of places you can publish. If it's online, there are easy ways. For example, if you do your visualization using a web tool called Infographics, infograph.am, that's the website. If you go on there and do your data analysis, you can actually link it directly to your website without having to download or design anything. It's automatically designed for you. So, you then do your feedback integration. What are people do? For example, in my office, when you finish doing data analysis and do presentation, the team gather around to ask questions about it and say, this, I don't think this thing you're saying here makes sense, and all of that. And then the person adds those feedback into their final presentation. What this leads to is that you understand your data cycle, you identify challenges, you tell process improvement, look at another angle. So you might have looked at it from age angle in your analysis, and somebody say, why don't you look at it from gender angle? You might tell a different story, right? So you look at the angle with which you have viewed your data and argue your decision for using that, looking at the data from that angle. You then look at validation methods and look at interlink. There might be somewhere else where that data has been presented in another format. It would be good to mention that, oh, there's also an alternative data to what you have done here. Identify the core metrics. I need to move forward. I don't need to spend time on this. I'll send you this as well. So the true length of the work is this ability to generate an infinite variety of interpretations. So if I look at, for example, in the executive summary, you've said that 70% of the capital expenditure, 70% of the capital expenditure is controlled by 14 MPs, right? It's also, somebody else might view it as, I can go back and say, look, what MDAs actually have direct impact on people. I can say, I'm focused on education and health, right? Those have direct impact. Even though those two ministries receive a huge amount of money, if you view it only from the perspective of capital expenditure, it seems that government is not spending enough, right? But let's think about it another way. If we move, say, 50% of the budget allocation that we make to those two agencies, if we move it to the capital bracket of the budget, right? What happens to salary payment to keep the teachers in school? What happens to salary payment to keep doctors and nurses in school? That's another way to look. I'm just giving an instance of how you can, change your narrative. So everybody is very critical about, oh, we are spending very little on capital expenditure, right? So if I decide to say half of the budget must go to capital expenditure and half to recurrent, right? It means that there are essential services that will eventually suffer due to that decision. That's a different argument to make when you look at it from only capital expenditure. Do you understand what I mean? So how long can you engage people in conversation based on your findings? It's just the point I'm making. Can your finding lead people to think about alternative ideas all by themselves without you being there? So I presented the fact that 70% of our budget expenditure goes to recurrent and 30% goes to capital. Merely presenting that fact, can people begin to interrogate that numbers even in your absence? So the key thing about your presentation is that there are other things in your report that people have not seen, but they can have that debate even without seeing that report. So what key information do you actually give to them that can lead to conversation? Do you understand what I mean? So I'd like to give this example. When former governor of CBN made the allegation that $20 billion was missing, right? Irrespective of whether it is true or not, a lot of people will only hear that number and think waiting concern me inside, right? That would be the natural reaction. But when we added a different set of narratives to that conversation to say, oh, even if this amount was truly missing, what does it even mean to average Nigerian? Instead to say, oh, with this amount, we can build Emirates-sized airline if we decide to invest it in an aviation industry. We can build world-class hospitals in the 109 senatorial districts in Nigeria. We can pave this amount of kilometers of road, right? By adding those life-touching information to the number, people start to debate that number in a different light. I don't know if it makes sense. Yeah. So what kind of conversations can people generate from the information you share with them? That's even more critical. So for us, when we present our data, first of all, one of the key things we hold on to is that our essential target is an illiterate. So can an illiterate look at a single page infographics from budget and understand it? Once that person can understand it, doctor, you can understand that information. You will. You know, because it's simple English, so you will get an idea of what we are talking about. So how do I communicate the federal budget to an illiterate? Once that illiterate can understand what I'm talking about, essentially any other person can get that information. So it's at the heart of what we do, and that's what drives effective communication, especially with the use of infographics. So what kind of conversation can people generate based on the information you have presented? So there are all sorts of communication tools, you know, the one-on-one conversation app, social media, radio, TV, newspaper, all of that. 5 rules to visualization. You need to find a story. There has to be a story behind what you're saying. So you don't go from saying, oh, 70% of the capital expenditure is controlled by 14 ministries. You then step down to talking about MTSS. You know, how maybe expected growth in MTSS or maybe MTEF, you know, expenditure trend now says that we were supposed to get this amount, but we are not getting this amount. It has to be like a consistent story that leads from one to another. You just can't just take disparate information and jumble them together and expect that it will make sense. So when you move from one line item you read to the next, is there a connection between the two of them? You have to make sure that that is consistent. So you don't mumble one data from this end, one data from that end, one data from that end, and just say because you feel these are key points, you can just put them in one-pager infographics and push out. Is there a trend when I read it? Right? Is there a connection between, when I move from one statement to the next, is there a connection between the two of them? So you need to also know who you want to communicate with. Right? So a lot of our infographics that the public get to see are the things we have put at the simplest thought process into. But we're also sending detailed memo to the DG of Budget Office. Right? We won't write that memo in the format that we have done an infographic that we want to communicate to an illiterate, right? So we need to be sure of who we want to see this information and then prepare the information in a way that it meets the person's need. You can't go to the marketplace and carry this 250-page document and hand to a market woman. She will never read it, right? But if you have a single big banner that explains, you know, with images of how this MTSS linkage to the budget improves their life, they will tend to understand it. But if you hand them the full document, they probably won't read it. In fact, they will use it for akara and all sorts of things. Yeah. So they will use it to wrap their wares in the market and move on and say this one thinks it's grammar that I'm here for, right? Or if you put it in a simple poster with images to tell the story, so that even if I don't read the grammar, there's an image that gives me a fair idea of what this grammar is about, they will tend to pick that up. You understand? So you need to define your audience from the get-go. You need to be objective and offer balance. A lot of times, I know we stray a little in offering opinion in some of our infographics, but in a lot of instances, we should stick to presenting the fact as it is so that people can then make informed decisions on their own. So with the same information, two people will have different idea of what you're talking about. So it's not for you to dictate to them how they view that information. It's for you to allow them understand the information the way it is, as long as you offer it in an objective way and in a balanced way. So in your data approach, be inclusive. So a lot of times, we get one set of data that, you know, for some people in my office, depending on their, you know, political leaning, they feel, oh, this is a good data to present. Meanwhile, there's also another data that contradicts that information, right? So what do you do in that instance? You need to make sure that you present the two sides of the information and let the people make their own decision, so that you don't present it only in a way that you don't present the information only in the way that you feel that it suits you, right? Try and remain balanced, be inclusive in your approach. If there are alternative data to what you have gathered, it's also very fair to, you know, mention that there's an existing information, but maybe this is why I don't agree with this data, or why I disagree with it. But make sure that you have mentioned, because if you have only mentioned your own data, somebody else will come, oh, that report is rubbish. After all, this other data says something different. But somebody can't have that argument if you have already told them that, look, this data exists and I know that it was there before I said what I said. it reduces the amount of disagreement you encounter in your report. And then keep editing and improving. One of the things we do is that when we put out infographics, people start to dispute the numbers. Some people's duty in the office is to make sure they gather those disagreements and go back and look at it. Recently, we published a survey on states that are paying salaries. And once we put out that survey, it wasn't only the state government officials who were on the attack, there were also people, ordinary people who were disputing the figure. What was the argument? A group of people in the same state will insist that where we said that the state government is still owing 6 months' salary, a group will say no, it's 12 months. In that same state, a group is saying they are not being owed at all. Do you understand? So we kept monitoring all of the conversation, and what we have been doing since last week was go back to recheck the number. So we reach out to people who said, oh, it's more than 6 months. Say, where do you work? It might be a factor in saying you are being owed 6 and you are being owed 12. Do you understand? So we kept rechecking the information we were gathering. So it's not, you don't, put a closed conversation when you present your data. Be open to receiving feedback and improve on the feedback you get.
Can you go back a second?
Okay.
This develop a feedback system, the last bullet.
Yes.
So for an organization like
yours,
ours,
yes.
How does that work?
Okay, so I know that a lot of your report also goes back to the government. ACT supports government to improve, DFID and all of that. I don't think that government will agree with everything you find. I know you are working very closely with them, but you're already doing feedback mechanism when he's working with somebody in the project office and he says, so this is what I'm finding on the field, and the person says, no, that's not the reason people think about it this way, is because of this. You're already gathering feedback, right? So for example, for my organization, when we do communication that we send as memo to any of the government agencies, sometimes they reply and say, look, we'll take this other advisement, or we'll get back to you on this. Sometimes they go all out and counter everything in the memo and say, look, the reason you think that this is how it's happening is because you don't have this information, you don't have that information. But be open to all of those feedback. Sometimes those feedback come unconsciously and we're not even aware that they are direct feedback with respect to work. So for example, if you submit this report and they look at the part where you said only 5 of the 14 MDs have linkages between that have strong or moderate linkages between their MTSS and their budgets, right? It means the feedback they might not come to you and say we want to make sure that the other ones that don't have strong linkages improve on it. They might go back quietly and reach out to those people and say, look, the MTSS you presented is not related to the budget you presented, right? So the feedback might not come to you. They might act on that feedback directly, and then the time you get to notice the feedback is the following year when you then do another study. You then see that these other guys who had weak linkages improved on it. Even though they didn't communicate to you, your next report will then show that there was action on that, right? That's an indirect feedback. Do you understand?
Why I want to emphasize that point for us and why we're all here is because we as a program add value on certain aspects, whether how we inform, whether government or DFID or other sector programs. So I'm re-emphasizing this. Because we've done a report doesn't mean our work is done.
So let me add one thing about feedback. Is that sometimes some of the best feedback you get will be from informal conversation with those involved. So you've sent a report to somebody. They feel that this report is good, but it will harm their public reputation if they acknowledge that what you have said in the report is true. So they are not inclined to put it in writing, acknowledging that what you have said is true, because it might harm their career or their position or whatever, right? Sometimes is a simple, you run into someone in the lobby and you're having a simple conversation with respect to that report. Oh, did you see our report? Say, yeah, I saw the report. Thank you. We are looking into it. We have concerns about this and that and that. It tells you what areas they are concerned about with respect to the report, or what area they are already acting on. So sometimes using informal feedback process is very key to getting the best. So, and other times you give them a form to say, can you tell us what you think? Ask pointed question. Do you agree that this, based on what you have seen in the report and your experience with MTSS and the budget, do you think that this ministry was ranked properly? Right? You give them that form of best. So yes or no answers are easier for people to answer in survey than having them write long essays. So why don't you make the statement and let them think, I agree, I disagree kind of thing. Other thing is that online questionnaires work better than paper this thing, right? So if you use Google Forms to send that thing to them and they open a link and they're clicking yes, it takes them to the next question, no. That way is an easier way, even for your own reporting on that feedback. It's easy for you to gather that as well. So we use online Google Form for feedback mechanism, right? There's Google Form, there's this thing you can use. So and there are all sorts of survey links you can use online.
Yeah, I think in our own case, sometimes we have deliberate feedback mechanism. When we do a report or an assessment, we do a validation session where people send the report, the draft report to them, and call them back to get a validation. They will now say, this is not what it should be, this is what it should be. And I think, and oftentimes, there's a dispute over a report like the debt management report we did in Kaduna, and we had to send back because the government claimed that we didn't have all the information that we just.
Yeah, but Chidi, at the same time, you went and met with the nutrition group in Nigeria, right? And you did the budget figures for them. What do you know happened afterwards? You don't know. You went into a wonderful presentation. People loved it.
Yeah.
But we have no details. Did these people not go and engage somewhere? Is there more money going to something because of the work we do? That's why we don't know, because we haven't engaged with it. That's why I was emphasizing that.
The feedback, like the example of the MTSS report, like most of the things you said already happened. It's been formally presented to all the ministers as an exclusive session by the DG budget. People have seen that, used the 5 samples MDAs. And now, the planning side have already latched on that, integrated that into their MTSS for the next 3 years, which is commencing today. To use it to emphasize to MDAs why that happened and how they can ensure that it improves. But at the same time, there are pushbacks, some formal, some informal. But majority of the pushbacks is that, okay, there is a reason why ours was poor. You know, they are coming up. So what we've just said is that, okay, put your feedback in writing, look at it, or send it back to us. We will integrate it into
yes. So that's another way of feedback. If you give them a chance to feel that they can make correction to the report, so that, because I know a lot of these government people are always very worried when the report will make them look bad. Right. So the best way to also get them to justify why, because sometimes all they are looking for is an opportunity to state why they've not done so well, in the hope that whoever is above them that can make decision can see their reason for doing poorly and help them improve on it. Maybe it's because their money didn't come on time, so they want to be able to state that the reason we did poorly was because our money didn't come through on time, with the hope that maybe Accountant General will see it and say, let's release these people's money on time so that they can get on
so
it.
So in theory, Dr. G would be sending us some details over the next few months, right, Austin? Saying these now from these 14 MDAs and the 5 that were okay, now what we've seen is it's 8. Because we need to show impact of our work.
Yes, we do.
I mean, we're not here today just for the infographics training. I'm trying to get through something in our some cultural changes about how we
report and
manage our impact and measure our impact.
So one other thing is about feedback is that you can also write directly to them and say, please, I will send this report earlier on. Do you have any feedback? Are there things you disagree with that we can incorporate into the report? Just asking directly will also help them, respond, since you need to be sure. So I've talked about crafting your story, do pair comparison and all of that. I've talked about how you must craft your story in a way that it makes sense, including all of the things I've talked about. If you find insights, highlight it. lead, don't control the narrative, lead people to then have their own narrative, but don't be the one controlling how the narrative goes. Then add your predictive analysis, if you find trend, if there are reasons to compare with other data, please do that. So you can also do presentation. I mentioned Infogram.com is an easy tool that can allow you to publish online. It's easy to learn. If you sign up, you can learn it by yourself.
Can you import it to a document? Infogram.
You can take screenshot. If you have a paid version, you can download.
Okay.
But the free one, my own way of walking around, on paid is that I just take screenshot of after I've done my design. I just take screenshot of the relevant data and whatever I've done. So it's easy to learn.
But this will be stuff. So if you need to edit, but most times you have to go back and edit it.
On Infographics,
yes.
you can.
Whether it's the paid one or not.
Yes, you can.
Edit, then you take another.
Yes.
No,
So if you're finished your design,
yes, we have the paper, but if you're downloading it, can you edit it?
The downloaded
yes.
one, no. What you do is you go back online, edit and download it. Yes. So, but what he wants to teach you with Adobe is that you can edit your work on your laptop, right? Because you're creating it on your laptop. You don't need to put it online. So, also, one other thing I wanted to mention is the role that picture plays in your presentation, right? Without reading any of this text, I can already imagine that this is about a child. Without looking at the text surrounding this, maybe seeing this picture, I can already tell.
Why was she married?
So you can tell the quick story using a picture. Do you understand? So merely seeing this thing, you know that whatever information is in this graphic has to do with a child, right? Picture plays a very critical role in how you present your data. Does that make sense? So if you look at this data, all of these numbers.
To you, or you're upset with what you're seeing? You've engaged with the picture? It makes me very sad.
So that's the whole idea. Put a picture that tells somebody that this information that you are presenting, this is who it affects the most. Do you understand what I mean? So mainly looking at it, by the time you look at this, you start look on the girl's face, and then you start to read about 50%, over half of the women marry at below 6. It now leads you to want to take action. Abi?
Yes.
So picture is very critical in how you present your information. I'm running out of time, so I need to move forward very quickly. So if you have data, bar charts, and all of those things, how you trend, you show when you have two. Say you have 2014 and 2015 data, and you need to present the two of them. So can you do two of them side by side so that people in one glance can see what year did better than the other? You can also use line charts. I don't need to go into this. I think you guys.
Yeah, we know how to do
all this one. Pie
it's
chart.
a little boring.
Yeah, it's boring to do it, right?
No, we know how to do all of this.
But
What we don't know how to do is the pregnant child. Right? We don't know how to do
So he would teach you how to do the other one.
pregnant child.
I just wanted, how you present this information different. We just get through to the other one. So these are different samples of
Object-linked representation. What is that?
So what I mean is that we're talking about barrels of crude oil, right? So I've shown you
barrels. Oh, okay.
You see?
Sorry.
So pipelines. We're talking about over 6,000 miles of oil pipeline, right? So we're looking at overview of it in a Nigerian Navy report on pipeline vandalism. So 30% account the sea accounts for over 30% of nation's landscape and all of those things. So you put an image to the number. I'm talking about sea. I show you all of the X. 30% of the whole this thing is sea. I talk about pipeline. I put a pipeline combined with number and text. I talk about barrels. I show you barrels. Literally.
Are there standard objects that you guys use that you decided? Sorry.
But most of the objects you use are free to use online. So you know what you want to represent. I want to talk about Nigeria. I then choose a map of Nigeria. I'll show you. Let me see if I can change one report I was looking at yesterday. So this is the map of Nigeria.
Oh, that's cool.
So why did we, if you look at the images here, these are, ship lifting crew, this is tanker lifting crew, this is offshore oil, this is an imaginary oil, or this is a bottle of oil, this is oil. When you look at all of this image, what does this tell you? That this report has something to do with oil, right? So let me show you. You say? Let me show you what this report.
So for Kaduna, you would do Kaduna, and I don't know, you do little images of El
So this is what the report is: falling oil prices and opportunity for reform. So we're talking about Nigeria. We're talking about oil. We're talking about Nigeria. So we've combined representations of different aspects of the oil industry in the map of Nigeria, and that's what we used as cover page. Right?
That's
Nigeria
awesome.
oil.
That's awesome.
Do you understand why I do
That's
so?
all strategy. Right?
Just use one. Like the one I use.
So that's what I mean by object-linked representation. So this is something else we looked at from the Navy report. What did they confiscate in their raid of oil vandals? They found one machine gun, 3 ml rifles, 3 AK-47, 574 rounds of ammunition, right? So we used each of those objects to represent each one. This was something we did about the power sector when it was privatized. We used both the Nigerian map, we used color coding for the power companies and the areas they represent, right? So if I look at Ikeja distribution, this is Ikeja distribution. If I look at this map, I can see red. It's just a tiny area but consumes a lot of energy. Then if you look at this blue, is eco distribution, right? So it's also just Lagos. Then if you look at the green, is Ibadan, all of the southwest. If you look at Benin, this is Enugu, this is Port Harcourt, this is Abuja distribution company. But I've used color to represent that whole information. So if you hear Abuja distribution company, don't assume that it covers only Abuja. It covers Nasarawa and all of the surrounding states. You understand?
That's why we never have power.
So to cut Nasarawa off, right? So I'm just showing you different ways of representing the budget. So this is the total amount of education budget, right? Out of this full amount, this is recurrent, this is capital, this is overhead. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
So you can see personnel cost, capital, overhead. So with color representation, I put all of it in the box and show you that if this is the entire money arranged, all of this size will go towards personnel cost. This size will go to capital expenditure. This one will go to overhead cost.
It's more like a pie chart.
Pie chart in a different
in a
block form, right? Does that make sense? So you can use all sorts of. I can go on and on and show you different ways. This is something we did on fuel subsidy probe. This shows you how the amount we budgeted for subsidy was growing. We went from 261 in 2006, 278, 2007, 346, 2008, 245, 2011. It reduced in 2011. This is budget. When you go to expenditure, you then see what in 2011. Remember that the budget says 245. In 2011, there are 3 different people claiming different amount that was spent. Accountant General said based on his own report, 1.6 trillion was spent against a budget of 241. CBN says it's 1.7 trillion. House of Reps probe says it's 2.59 trillion, right? But the key thing to note is that we're looking at only 2011. This is how much was spent, it was budgeted, and this is how much was spent. Do you understand why I'm saying?
The following year was crazier.
So
these are massive. So when you presented this for the fuel subsidy, the conversations that you had, were people able to engage with the thoughts and say, well, wait a minute, These are massive numbers.
Yes. When we did this was, right when the conversation was very heated.
Yeah.
Right. So also one of the key things we do is that we try and key into what people are talking about. You don't go and present information when people have moved on from the conversation. So as it's happening, present it so that you also, So one time, there was a lot of talk about audit reports. Should the audit report be made public and all of that. So what we simply did was, once we noticed that the newspapers reported it that day, it means that it will form a bulk of the conversation online, right? We start to tell people what the audit process is, who should publish the information, or who has the information that people are looking for. That way, everybody knew who to direct their conversation to. Right? So you need to also key into the moment. What are people talking about right now? Key into it.
That's important for the hubs, by the way. Key into the moment.
Yeah. So sometimes people think that they can start their own conversation. Really, you can't. You need to just key into the ongoing conversation and make your point. And that's what we do. We keep our eyes on the news. Whatever is making the news, we key into it. Once in a while, we are lucky to break the news, but a lot of times we just key into what people are talking about to drive this thing. I won't go through this. We already know how to make PowerPoint. This you can have. I think I'm almost.
Are you using slide geeks or anything like that?
For our PowerPoint, we use Visual Microsoft PowerPoint. That will work to do. So this is the infogram I was talking about. You can screenshot, you can download, you can see all of that. But this training will allow us to go through that.